Hi everybody, this is Rose of Sharon, and I'm back again with another book review. I recently read The Cold Millions by Jess Walter. Of course, this is an author's copy, so this is not the copy that was sold to public. This is what is known as speculative fiction, and I love speculative fiction, and it has a lot to do with the labor unions, when the labor unions were starting to be formed, and freedom of speech, because at the time the laborers really didn't have that. So subsequently, that's why the unions were formed, to get a fair wage and fair pay and fair work. So yeah, this is fascinating. The characters are actual characters that existed, and he does talk about that at the end, which if I can get to it. Let's see. All right. As Albert Camus once said, fiction is the lie through which we tell the truth. And as Jessamine West said, fiction reveals the truth that reality obscures. And as my kids said, Dad, that sounds made up. Kids, this is made up. The Cold Millions is fiction. But that doesn't mean that there aren't some obscured truths in here. A few relevant philosophical questions rattling about in these pages, as well as some quote-unquote real historical figures. Among them, the great labor organizer, I can speak English, Elizabeth Gurley Flynn, Spokane police officer Alfred Waterbury, and the police chief John Sullivan, IWW organizers John Walsh and Frank Little, and labor lawyer Fred Moore, and others. So that part of it is all actual, and the rest is just speculative. But still and yet, it is of such that I found myself just completely transfixed. And I have to say, I've never heard of Mr. Walter before, but having read this book and picked it up just upon the cover alone, I'm glad I did not pass this up. Because, to be quite honest with you, I'm a big history buff, and I've always been fascinated with early Americana and the birth of our nation, and just how things were back in the day. And yeah, they were very difficult. There were a lot of hardships. A lot of people died, especially in mines, and there weren't really any safety restrictions when it came to mines, and a lot of miners were seen as expendable. Yeah, so that had to be changed. I think that's why labor laws were made, and D&D laws, and all the writers that add to the D&D laws. But yeah, you had to be accountable, and you had to have what do they call it? You couldn't have negligence. You couldn't be negligent on or have dereliction of duty in your company, or because people would find out, and you would have a bad write up, and of course enough of those, and your company would go under. But employees are part of a company, and if you're smart, employees are your company. So I think the most intelligent companies have come to this realization and know that each part of the company works together as a team. No part works as an island. It doesn't. I mean, even in our society, that's not. It doesn't. It as a whole, that it can't function as a whole. It's not a whole. It's just a fragment, and fragment by itself it's just like an out of place cog with no place to turn. Well, I can't really say anything else about The Cold Millions other than I absolutely adored it. I couldn't put it down. So, other than that, what else am I working on? I just recently started watching Inside Job. Season 2, I'm going to be watching Princess Yashahime. Of course, there's new Urusei Yatsura, which I'm super, super happy about. I've seen the animation from it, and it looks so pretty and just so smooth and gorgeous. And I like Lum's new design. She's even prettier than her original. I was a little bit upset with what they did to my boy Satoshi. I thought, no, he should be handsomer than that. And I'm like, okay, people don't look at me like that. Just don't judge me for loving Satoshi. I have an understanding for his character. He resonates very well with me, although I am nothing like him. I do have to say that Satoshi and I are very alike in the fact that we're both very eccentric. But beyond that, I really don't have that much to say. Other than, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Other than I'm working on a lot of my transcribing from what you see below you, which is my notebook, because at a time where I had absolutely zero access to a laptop, which you see in front of you, I had to write everything out by hand, which really taught me to appreciate the process of creativity. With that being said, in and of itself, I have enjoyed actually recording my thoughts in this way. But I have a lot to catch up with. So without any further ado, I think I should get back to work on that. And, of course, I saw on Kiss Cartoon, they had Central Park, the most recent season of Central Park, which I will watch. And, of course, they had Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, which I've heard nothing but good about. So I will most likely be doing a review of that, because this year has been full of Pinocchios and full of Christmas carols. And of course, my favorite Christmas carol, other than A Muppet's Christmas Carol, is the Robert Zemeckis one, and Scrooged, and the musical Christmas Carol. We know the Thank You Very Much, that one. And then the most recent one, which is Spirited, which is by far the best musical I have seen all year. I should say the best Christmas movie I've seen all year, or any year. I don't have anything to compare it to, so until some other movie takes the crown for being the best holiday movie I've ever seen, it remains Spirited. Other than that, I really don't have that much else to say. So until next time, live on, prosper.